Thank you everyone for joining us today on Women to Women Wednesdays. My name is Pam and I'm your host. I will not be on the screen as much because I'm excited for our guest today. Her name is Christine Gorham and she is a strategic director of development for Caddis Healthcare. And they specialize in real estate and they are, developers, they acquire, and they are a property management firm. And on top of that, they are one of the top 10 national companies. So how exciting is that? So I'm excited to have Christine join us today. And then another bonus, a little cherry on top here. She is also our 2020 Crew Network Global President. So a virtual round of applause. Yay! Welcome, Christine.
Thank you, Pam.
I'm excited to have you here. So thank you for being on. A lot of women and men are excited to hear about your experience and how you got into commercial real estate. And if there's any little nuggets of wisdom you can provide us out there, we'd love to hear it. So I'm going to jump right in. For those of you who are just getting started into commercial real estate, you'll see that there's a huge umbrella of different sectors that you can go into. But for Christine's area, this is particular to you. If you're just getting started into this, where do you recommend the younger generation, the emerging leaders, start?
Sure. Thanks so much, Pam. One of the things I would say that is so important, because when you're in commercial real estate, you're in it all the time, whether you end up deciding to be or not, you're in it, because as you drive in your car or walk or take a train, you are going to be looking at commercial real estate. So it is going to get into your blood. So I would say one of the things I always recommend is pick something you're passionate about. And I'll give you an example. I was working for a home builder. I'll tell you how I got here, and then I'll explain it a little bit. I was working for a residential home developer. I was working in finance, so my degree's in finance. And I didn't know I wanted to go into commercial real estate. And I just, I got out of college and I'm looking for what do I do with my career and my degree? What do I do? And I read this help wanted. It was probably in the paper then. So I went to work for this home developer. I was working on all the sites. I was working on all the home sites. And this was in the late 80s. The market fell out. I was watching the CFO and the controller and all the leadership team really, constantly talking, basically pulling their hair out, trying to figure this all out. And then they called so many of us, probably at least 15 to 20 folks, into a conference room and said, hey, look, we're trying to keep everybody employed as much as possible, but I'm sure you guys have realized we've hit some hard times. We're going to go ahead and keep everybody on, but we're going to cut you down to 4 days a week. And at that point in time, I was living, if I said paycheck to paycheck, that would probably be an exaggeration. It was probably penny to penny or more. And I was thinking, what in the heck am I going to do? So after everybody cleared the room, I went into the controller's office and I said, look, I'll do anything at all to work 5 days a week. What else can I do in this company? I don't care what it is. I need to work 5 days a week. And so they said, well, you have your business degree. Did you take marketing? Yes, I took marketing. Okay. Can you market? I will market the heck out of anything you hand me. And so I always say on the 5th day I marketed. And, so number one, that's a lesson, right? Is if you want something, go ask for it. Don't wait for them to say, oh, it looks like Christine's kind of down about all this. I wonder if we should give her a 5th day. No, I went into the office and I was like, look, I need something. I'll do anything you want me to do. So I went in, and so that's a lesson, I think, to anybody, but especially women, because women don't really do that. They don't step forward and put themselves out there as much as men do. So that was one thing. So I got into that. And then I started thinking, what industry is going to be a little bit more resilient in downturns? And so that's how I came up with healthcare. I thought no matter what generation, no matter what years go by, people are going to need healthcare. That's how I got into healthcare. So when I got into healthcare, the thing I started realizing I really loved was I love the fact that I'm taking care of people. But I also advise people, when they say, what should I do? It also depends on your marketplace. If you're in a very small marketplace, you're going to be more of a generalist when it comes to real estate. So you might touch a little bit of everything. And you might really like that. You might like to be able to do all kinds of real estate. So you might work in office and retail and industrial and healthcare, you know, it just, whatever it is, you may data, you know, it just depends what market you're in. But as you get to the larger metro areas, you're going to be focused, and you will be focused into a sector. And if you're in a large metro area, you could not only be focused specifically, for example, in healthcare, but you may only do tenant rep healthcare, where you are representing people who want space. Or you may use an occupier or landlord rep, where you're representing the owners of the building. You may also get into corporate, where you're representing the company that you are working with. So what I would say in all of that is that understand what you like. I'll give you some other examples. There's one of my friends I've met through Crew. She went to school for manufacturing. She loves the idea of products being built, developed, and sourced out to the consumers. She loves being on the front end of new technology, of what's coming out. She works in industrial. Another friend, also through Crew, so there's going to be a theme here, I think, is that there is, you know, I have a friend who absolutely loves to shop. She wants the latest trends. She knows everything there is. If she were not in commercial real estate, I believe she would be in the fashion industry. Look at what's inside you. Really think about and write it down. What do I love? What inspires me? What puts a smile on my face? And then tie that into what you do in real estate.
So Christine, the other question I have for you is, you mentioned about mentoring others. Who was your mentor, and how did you find your mentor?
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about that the other day, actually. And you know, I go back and I think the first person, so I'll just say there's, you know, mentors and sponsors, and we hear about that all the time. Sponsor being somebody that when you're outside of the room, they're pushing you forward and they are trying to help you progress. Mentor being more of, let's interact, let's talk, let's kind of figure out what you're going through. Let's figure out what you want to do. Almost coaching, but not quite coaching. Just, you know, kind of giving suggestions and listening to you and try to help you connect, right? That's a lot of it. Network. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, there was a gentleman that when I went to work for my first healthcare position, I would say, you know, initially I probably considered him a mentor, and then I realized he was sponsoring me. And so he had the opportunity that we opened a new division. We went from primary care, and then we started a surgery center division. And he came to me and he said, he was going over as the controller, and he said, Christine, we're starting this new sector. I would love for you to come over and be my finance manager. And so, you know, and not even knowing, I just thought, well, this is the guy that I worked with. I really enjoyed working with. I thought we did a nice job together, but he came to me and he said, look, come with me. Then that message is, I trust you and I want to do good things for you. And he taught me a lot, and he believed in me, and he kept putting me in situations. And when I look back now, I didn't know it at the time. When I look back now, I'm like, yes, he definitely was part of my growth and success. And I think that, and then after that, you know, there were different positions, different people along the way. And I've had, you know, another male, I've had another female. I'm just kind of like thinking through it in my mind. And then probably another female. So 2 males, 2 females to this point.
I'm just very curious of, like, do you have a current sponsor or mentor you work with right now to help you develop you to get you to the next level where you want to be?
Okay, I'm going to say this a little off record, and I hope I don't get in trouble for it, but I think so. I think there's somebody, no, that's fine. I think there's somebody working for me right now. And I will say, I know for a fact that I have one. I think there's somebody else working behind the scenes for me right now. So from a sponsor perspective, yes. From a mentor perspective, you know, I probably have 2 or 3 people that are my go-to. And when you talk about having your board of directors, people that you run things by, that you bounce ideas off of. I think it's very, very important to have that, because there are sometimes when you know somebody pretty well, when something else comes out of their mind that they're thinking, or their mouth, that they're thinking that they want to do X, Y, Z, they will say, where's that coming from? And it's a good question. It's a very good question to be asked. Where's that coming from? And I think that a lot of times, sometimes you're just going rogue with your thoughts, because you're just trying to say, okay, what's good for me? What's this? What's that? What, you know, right. What do I want to do? How do I get there? What kind of things should I be doing? And so I think having that personal board of directors, that's probably one of the best things I've heard along the way, is people that you let in and you share with on a regular basis. And they're successful in their own right. And clearly I try to give back to them as much as I can, but that's what I'm doing too. I'm listening to them and I'm talking about where do they want to go. And if I see things getting off track for that person, you know, I'll say, hey, just FYI, kind of seeing this. Is that what you want to be doing? But I will tell you, I am a very big advocate. I watch, especially now in pandemic, but even so, I've been a very big fan of leadership, watching how people do things. I think people's stories are very inspiring. I can talk, and you know, I will remember, I won't always remember names, but I can always remember the situation. There was this guy at this company, and this was the situation, and this is what he did. This is what he did. This person handled this female. I just read an article the other day. This female CEO in the pandemic handled her staff like this. This was how she approached everything. So I read things like that and just try to, it inspires me, but also try to say, okay, what are my takeaways? What are my nuggets for how I want to be as a leader?
You know, you talked a little bit earlier about networking, how that's so important. And I know you apply that with your team of people professionally and personally as well. So what are some of the top 3 strategies that you can provide to us out there of how to grow our network organically, authentically, but, you know, with quality as well? Because we don't want to just you know, now virtually most of us are on LinkedIn. We don't want to just add people for the sake of adding them. We want to be intentional and mindful, right? So what are some strategies that you can share with us?
Sure. I think one of the things, so number one, I would say, you know, think about what your goal is. And based on what your goal is, make a defined list of who you want to approach. Who do you want to get to know? And when I say that, I'm saying specifically names or companies or the types of positions that you want to talk to. So I'll give you for example. In my industry, it's healthcare. And I am, in my position, I am looking to strategically grow our company. Part of that requires me to do business development. And so I'm out looking to meet hospitals, for example. I'll give you an example. I want to meet somebody at a hospital. I want to meet somebody who is in the C-suite. I want to meet somebody who might be in real estate. It might be the construction department. It might be a facilities person, because different titles are different places. So understand your industry, understand the types of positions you want to speak with, and understand what they do and who are the decision makers. So, and then I want to talk to conversely, I want to talk to different people that touch it. So it might be the architects, the engineers, the contractors. So different types of businesses that touch that particular hospital. And so, you know, putting together that. So that's one strategy. In my case, because I'm, you know, a nationwide company, I'm putting together a strategy for where, okay? Where I cannot be in every city in the entire country at all times. I can get pretty far, but I cannot do that. So, you know, being strategic about your networking is probably key number one. Number two is, you know, if you're going to go somewhere and you're going to participate in anything, if you're at an event, which, you know, again, right now we're on hold, but when you have the ability to go to events, you know, try to be there early. Try to be prepared when you have the ability to look at the list of who's coming. And then, you know, you set your targets on that sounds horrible to be like somebody has their target on, but it's again, being strategic, right?
Right.
And utilizing your time at that location to the best of your ability. So like a best practices of being at events or traveling somewhere that, especially when some of these things come with high price tags. So you want to make the most of when you are there. So be prepared. Whatever you do, don't stop networking. I think people feel like, okay, I've got a lot going on, and then the networking sort of trails off. All of a sudden, these projects are going, and you're saying like, oh, geez, like I have nothing coming in. So that's part of it. The second part of it is that I will tell you, as a female especially, but this applies to men as well. If you ever have to step out of the industry for any reason. So people, I say predominantly females because females are clearly the only ones having babies so far. So
that we know of, right?
That we know of. And so typically it's the female that is staying home with the child, having the child, staying home with the child, especially right at first. And then, and they're out of work for a little bit. If they decide that they're going to be out longer, a lot of females will forget to stay in touch and continue to do their networking. So associations are important. Colleagues are important. The network you have already established is important. You should still be reading. Even if the baby's taking a nap on your lap, you can still be reading, right? If you're not having to catch up on your sleep for a second. And then, so always continue to network. And I say men too, because sometimes it may be an illness in the family, and there are men that stay home with children too. But just from the standpoint of male, female, if you ever have to step out for any reason, or if it could unfortunately be your own health or situation, always remain in contact and continue to network, even if it's a little bit. Stay plugged in. Huge, huge, huge. I did not do that for a period of time, and I can tell you, I felt it.
Can you share maybe one mistake you might have learned early on in your career that you might have wished you've done differently, knowing what you do now, and that you want to give back and share to our younger viewers here?
Sure. I will tell you that I marched right in there and said, I have to work 5 days a week when I was, talking earlier. But in my career, I wish I would have had more straight up conversations earlier about what my goals were, where I wanted to go, and asked, here's where I want to go. What's my roadmap? What do I need to show you? What do I need to do in order for you to put me forward? And I wish I would have had a voice sooner. I wish I would have stood up and just not be demanding, because it's not being demanding. It's stating what your goals are and having that dialogue with the people that can do something about it. And I wish I would have done that sooner.
Just like what you mentioned, just go ask for it, don't wait,
Yes.
and speak up, right? And oftentimes when we're out of college or just fresh into a new industry, whether this maybe the Cree industry is your second time in a career path, you might not be sure of what to ask and whatnot, but it's very important to just put yourself out there. That's the gist I'm getting. Is that correct, Christine?
Right. And ask for help, ask for guidance, ask for what does it take? What do I need to do next? What do I need to know that I don't know right now? Because sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
I'm going to end the business portion here of what are your top 3 business goals for? I know we're towards the end of 2020 here, so we can kind of talk about the next 6 months leading into the first quarter of 2021. So what are your top 3 business goals?
I would say, it is tough. It's been tough, but really getting out again. I really, I've met a lot of people virtually, and I've shared a lot of mutual introductions, and that's been very important. So number 1 is to get out there, capitalize. And so the virtual thing has been okay. It's better than nothing, but there's nothing like being in person. And so business goal number 1, get out there and get with these folks face to face. I want to go meet these people face to face. Number 2, I cannot wait to start growing our footprint. So, Caddis we've got lofty goals. We've got a fantastic team, and I can't wait to get out there and build build that. So number 2 is building our footprint. And number 3 is just really, we have really become collaborative. We were always as a matter of fact, we are always very collaborative. And that's one of the reasons I took this position. When I visited our headquarters and walked through the office, it was one of the things that I didn't talk about to anybody. And I didn't say that I wanted to see it, but I looked around when I was in the office to see how people interacted with each other. It was very collaborative. People were smiling, which I thought was a pretty darn good sign.
Yes.
And, and so I think too, coming out of this, our company culture our company was started by a physician, and we service providers. We understand providers. And having been somebody who has always worked on the provider side in healthcare, it's very important to me. And the kindness and the empathy that is coming for these healthcare folks and everybody at the hospitals. I'm so excited for doctors and hospitals from a perspective of, I think people have a lot more respect for them now. And, so again, it goes back to my heartstrings, right? The why. I love helping people who help people and keep loved ones and families happy and healthy together. So I'm excited to move some of that forward again.
All right. Well, we'll keep your business goals in mind. So now we're going to conclude the business professional portion. You provided lots of wonderful nuggets of wisdom for us out there, but now it's time for the fun part, because we want to get to know you in a personal level, if you will. So are you ready for this?
Ready as I'll ever be.
All right. Favorite color?
Orange.
Favorite place?
Anything with water. Beautiful water. I should say beautiful water.
Favorite movie?
Oh, Pretty Woman. There's so many messages in that movie.
Yes, I agree. Favorite music genre?
Country.
Favorite author?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I know you read a lot, so it's hard to narrow down, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be the leadership. It's leadership stuff. So, Carla Harris was fantastic. I love the Brene Browns of her books, Becky Blaylock. So it's, a lot of, and I think too, I love all leadership, but again, the female leaders, just think that, it's the part that is, if you can see it, you can be it. I think that's probably, I've never thought about that, but that might be why. One.
Who's your music icon?
Oh, geez. I think like, I would say, like, I like Luke Bryan. Just has a really good persona on stage. He's very friendly, warm, welcoming, and love his music. But I think, like Elton John is just a seriously talented person. Zach Brown, just a great musician, great guitar player. There are so many. And I'll tell you, Joe Walsh, fantastic guitar player. Yes. So yeah, I have music on all the time. And so
that's how you work, right?
Yeah, I listen to a little bit of everything, and I've played a lot of instruments, so I appreciate them. And I think the guitar part of it is because I've played so many instruments, and the one that I think is so hard to play is guitar. It seems like everybody plays guitar. I can play all kind of other music, but ask me to play guitar, forget it.
Do you carry any good luck charms?
I did for a long time. And as a matter of fact, when in a move, I don't know where it went. Things were getting packed up really fast, and I need to find the little wallet that it was in. And it was a little cross with a little angel on it. And I had that with me for a long time, and I have hated not having it.
Ending it here, what are you most proud of?
I think it's really important to be a good person. I mean, and I don't mean good at what you do. Good, I think just a good heart, and you treat people with respect. And so I think one of the things it always makes me proud, and now I'm going to start tearing up, is, when people come to tell me like, you've got the nicest kids.
Oh,
And they say, like, your kids are so nice. We love talking to them. They're so well-mannered, of course, on the younger ones, especially. They're just so neat. And they're good. They're good kids, you know? So I'm just proud when people say that. Clearly, I think the world of them. And I tell them all the time, you can move back home any day of the week. The door is always open. If you want to live with me the rest of your life, you're welcome to. And I know people that are so excited to be empty nesters. And there are days I'm like, yeah, you can carve out time to do empty nesting. But just having those great kids with you is just, oh, God, that fills my heart.
Are there any final words to all the emerging leaders out there that are listening that you would like to share?
I think one of the biggest things that I learned along the way is be yourself. You can't, I say, everybody else is taken, so be yourself. But I think that's something that I learned along the way. The other thing that I learned is, and let me just say one other thing with that. I saw in leadership, a lot of men. So I thought I had to act like a guy, kind of be a tough guy. Clearly, that's not the case. That's not how I act. That's not who I am. But I learned that. And so I'm very much myself. And, and the way I look at things too is not everybody is going to love me. That's just not going to happen. But, but again, going back to the respect, I'm going to be respectful to everybody I meet. And the way I look at it is like, I'm going to respect you until you give me reason not to. And, but I'm always going to be myself. I had to learn that. The other thing I had to learn is that by sharing and helping other people, I used to think that if I knew information and I didn't share it, that would give me an advantage because I was ahead of the game. Oh my gosh. I'm like, now I think about that and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I cannot believe that's how I thought. So I would say the more information you know and you can share and you can help people, the better off everything's going to be for them and for you. And it's going to come back to you. And I just think that, I was probably in my mid 30s when I learned that. And I learned that through Crew Atlanta's leadership program, believe it or not.
Wow.
So and I remember going into that, thinking, hoarding all the information and coming out of it going, wow, like it's so powerful to help. So be yourself and be helpful.
Christine, I love having you on and talking with you. I just feel like we're literally chatting over coffee and just getting to know each other. So thank you for all of the wisdom you're sharing with everyone out there. And for those of you who are listening in on this, recap here, Christine is our 2020 Crew Network Global President. And if you're not sure what Crew stands for, please Google it. Crew stands for Commercial Real Estate for Women. We have the mission charter of advancing women globally in commercial real estate, but we are also open to men as well. And Christine is the strategic director for development with Caddis Healthcare. So if you want to learn more about her company and how she can help you or your business, or maybe you guys can collaborate and partner together on new acquisitions and development, what we'll do is we'll put the company's website in our description for you to read more about it. Other than that, thank you guys for joining in on this interview. It's always been a pleasure, and I love bringing in leaders like Christine. And if you guys want to hear more from any particular person, please comment below, subscribe to our channel, let us know who you want to hear from. We'll go chase after them. We'll ask them, what's the worst they can say is no, right? And that's okay. We move on. Again, thank you so much, Christine. I enjoyed talking with you today.
Thanks, Pam. Thanks for having me.